we know that the word Vayikra, which is the first four letters, represents coincidence, and Vayikra represents clarity, no coincidence. The Shem Shmuel has a very important and beautiful explanation. It says in the Talmud in Chulin, Adamu behema toshia Hashem. It says on the verse that the Creator rescues, helps, gives light to man and animal. So if you read the literal verse, it means that the Creator helps people and He also helps animal. But the Talmud says no. Elu bnei adam shem arumim b'da'atam umesimim atzmam kebehema. This is talking about people who are smart, people who do understand, but nevertheless somehow diminish their understanding, somehow push down their understanding to the level of animal. What does this mean? He says, כשהאדם מבטל דעתו ורצונו לרצון השם יתברך, when a person diminishes his understanding, his question, his knowledge to the knowledge of the Creator, לעומת זה נותנים לו דעת מן השמיים. Corresponding to that, to the diminishment of one's understanding, to that level he gets wisdom and light from above. And I want to make this very clear, so we'll use examples. How we see our lives, right, the Zohar says, how we see our lives is exactly how our lives are going to be. So, most of us are involved in spiritual work, most of us are involved in the study, so we know that big things come from the Creator. Life-changing things, really important things in our lives, probably most of us have an understanding they're from the Creator. But what about the little things? This morning I woke up and I wanted to take a shower and somebody else was in the shower, he upset me. Is that a Vayikra? Is that a coincidence? Or is that from the Creator? Every day, probably 30 things happen that annoy us, that upset us, that bother us, some of them bigger, some of them smaller. How do we see those? And how we see them determines how the light of the Creator will act in our lives. If in every single little thing that happens in my life I understand that it is the light of the Creator, I bring the light of the Creator further into my life. This is so important. If throughout the day 15 things happen and I saw the small things as being coincidental and the important things as being from the Creator, I've now pushed the Creator out a certain percentage from my life. Conversely, if today I saw all those 15 things in my consciousness as coming directly from the Creator, I've drawn the Creator more into my life. How we see those little things, those what we would usually view as coincidences in our lives, either pushes out or draws in the light of the Creator into our life. How we see these little things is how we push or pull the light of the Creator into our life. And how do we know how we're seeing them? Very simple. When somebody does something, let's use small examples. Again, I hear somebody said something negative about me. What's my reaction? If I'm angry or sad or disappointed or slightly depressed, what am I saying? It's a coincidence. He decided to do it. It's not from the Creator, and therefore it upsets me. Conversely, if I stop myself and I say, no, I know this is from the Creator, and if it's from the Creator, it's for my best, and I mevatel da'ati, I push my own thoughts away, then I bring the light of the Creator into my life. We're talking about instances especially when my logic dictates the opposite. He just did something that's very upsetting to me. She just did something that's very hurtful to me. If I ever, and we all do, but if I ever, and every time that is my reaction, I'm pushing the light of the Creator a little bit further out of my life. And if it happens 10 times a day, so I push the light of the Creator 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 degrees out of my life. Conversely, if I start being mevatel da'ati, if I start pushing aside my logic, my understanding of why this is bad for me or hurtful for me, and I say, no, I'm not even going to think because logic doesn't work here, but I know that this is not a coincidence, it is from the Creator, it is for my best, and I push it aside. I bring the light of the Creator one more degree into my life. And if I do it 10 times a day, I bring the light of the Creator one more degree, another degree back into my life. So that's one understanding. It's a very important one because we all fall to this every day, 15, 20, 30 times. So the basic understanding is that how I see these things and how I react to them shows where my consciousness is. And that decision of how I see it, meaning not just how I understand it again, because we're talking about specifically things I don't understand. Right? This person just went over to my best friend and said that I stole $100 from them. Right? And there's no good in that, right? He's not going to like me. He obviously doesn't like me, and I'm going to be viewed negatively. So there's no logic that I can possibly put in my mind why this is good for me. But I am, right? Adam ubehemat Hashem. I take down my human logic. And like an animal, I'm simple about it. I push aside, as he says, mevatel da'ati, I push aside my thought, and I know that it is not a coincidence, and I know it is for my best. When that happens, first thing, I draw the light of the Creator further into my life, because I don't see coincidences anymore. Number one. But the second thing, and this is why it's so beautiful, he says, you get at least 3 gifts when you do this. One, you gain more understanding from the Creator. He gives you more ability to understand. When you diminish your thought, the Creator says, okay, I'll give you some more of my thoughts. I'll give you some more of my clarity. That's the first level of blessings. And when you merit to receive more of that, the Creator's thoughts, more of the Creator's light, then you are assisted in all matters. You are assisted in all matters. Think about this. Next time somebody does something that is hurtful or upsetting, and you diminish your logic, push it aside, you now first receive, we said, bring the light of the Creator further into your life because you don't see coincidence. Second, you receive more wisdom, more understanding from the Creator because you've said, I am diminishing my thought process, my logic. Third, you receive all kinds of abundance and blessings and assistance from the Creator. And it goes further. He says, right, where we think, how we think is where we're connected to. ומאחר שהאדם מבטל דעתו ומשליך ממנו את כל ההתקשרות שיש לו לעולם הזה והבליו, when I push aside all the logic of my understanding of why things are happening and how they affect me, ומשים את עצמו כבהמה, and I put myself on the level of an animal, meaning I don't understand, but not in a negative way, but I know that I don't have clarity, I know that I don't understand. להיות נכנע לרצון השם יתברך, and I know that whatever is happening is from the Creator, and it is for my best, and I surrender to that. לעומת זה נקשרה נשמתו בשורשה. That thought process, that change, binds my soul to its source, binds my soul stronger to the Creator. ממילא הוא מושך משורש נשמתו כל מיני השפעות. And therefore I merit that I draw from my soul, from its source, from the Creator, all kinds of abundance. כי שורש נשמתו דבוק במקור החיים. Because the source of my soul is connected to the source of all things, to the Creator. If you really understand this, this changes everything about the little reactions throughout our day. Because what he's explaining is that every time somebody does something big or small that upsets me, that disappoints me, that angers me, that saddens me, and I say at that moment, Adamu be'emato she'Hashem, I'm pushing out my human understanding of why this is bad for me or why this should upset me. I push aside logic and I say, no, I don't understand exactly how, but this is from the Creator, this is for my best. And I don't react to it in any negative way. As a matter of fact, I'm happy because I know this is for my best. I now elevate my soul to a stronger connection to the light of the Creator. Imagine these opportunities that we have every day of our lives, 10, 20, 30 times. And let me just repeat again the 4 gifts that you get. And of course, conversely, when we fall to that reaction, it's the opposite. But we bring the light of the Creator stronger into our life. 1. 2, we receive more wisdom, more understanding from the light of the Creator. Because what we're saying to the Creator is, I don't want my thought, I want your thoughts. 3, Nosha bechol ha'inyanim. I draw all kinds of things beyond what I can merit. I receive all kinds of assistance and blessings beyond what I can merit. 4, I bind my soul higher, stronger to its source, and therefore to the Creator, and therefore, as he says, my soul becomes stronger, connected, davuk b'makor ha'chaim, moshech kol minei hashpaot. I draw all kinds of abundance. Can you imagine these opportunities we have every day, and we fall 90% of the time? One of the great gifts of this Shabbat, and this is such, if we understand it, and I hope it's clear, but if we understand this, first of all, is exciting, just as an understanding. Second, what it can do in our lives. This can change every day to a great and greater degree our bond to the light of the Creator, and therefore the blessings and the understanding that comes to us. It's an amazing revelation. The third thing I want to share, and again, as would happen in the Hebrew Limud, we're going to be cut off a little bit, but I am most excited about this third one. It says in the Midrash, in the beginning of this week's portion, it says Vayikra el Moshe. Right, this week's portion begins. The Creator calls to Moshe. Ma katuv lemala me'inyan. The Midrash says what is written previously, meaning at the end of Kudei, the previous portion, in the previous book. Ka'asher tziva Hashem et Moshe, that Moshe built the Mishkan, built the tabernacle, as the Creator commanded him. Mashal lemelech shetziva et avdo. So the Midrash, to explain the first words in this week's portion, brings a parable. Compares it to a king who commands his servant to build a palace for him. Ve'amar lo bnei li paltin, and he says to him, build for me a palace, a beautiful place. Al kol davar ve'davar shehaya boneh. Everything that he built, every brick he put on the wall, every table he built, every chair that he built, he wrote on it, Hayakotev alav shmo shel melech. He would write the name of the king. Whatever the name of the king was, he would write the name of the king. He builds the whole house, he builds all the furniture. Liyamin nichnas hamelech. Eventually the king comes in. Amar, and he said, Kol hakavod hazeh asali avdi. My servant created this beautiful palace for me. He built all this beautiful furniture. V'humi bachutz, and I'm sitting inside now, and he's outside. Kru lo sheikanes lifnai v'lifnim. Call him and have him come be with me in the most internal rooms, meaning let him come and be very close with me. Kach, so too, hayakotev alav kasher tziva Hashem et Moshe. Moshe, as he was building everything, as he was directing the building of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle, as he was directing the building of every part of the Mishkan, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he said on everything, this is from the Creator, this is from the Creator, this is the way the Creator wants it to be, this is the way the Creator wants it to be. Once it was done, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Creator said, Kol hakavod hazeh asali Moshe, v'ani bebefnim, v'hu mibachutz. How can I be inside now, and Moses is outside? Call him, call Moshe to come and be in the most internal chambers, meaning let him come connect completely to the light of the Creator. Therefore, this week's portion begins with a calling to Moshe, meaning Moshe achieved obviously a certain level of connection to the Creator, and therefore the Creator says, okay, he's at the point we can completely unify with me. What is that level? What is that level? And this again is such an amazing lesson. This is one of those life-changing lessons if you understand it, and obviously more importantly, live it. So we won't have time to read through all this, and it is beautiful, but there's a concept in the Talmud which is called shlucho shel adam kmoto, which means that a person's messenger has the same powers as him. We know, for instance, that if you want to marry somebody, according to the halakha, for it to spiritually bind you, you have to physically go to a woman and say, Harei at mekudeshet li. There's certain words, a certain connection that has to be made. If I choose a messenger, if I say to somebody, do me a favor, I want you to go to this woman and be my shaliach, my messenger, to marry her for me, it binds. It those souls become connected, because once I imbue a messenger with a task, he can do everything I can do. Use a simple example. Take somebody who has no money, and some billionaire says to him, look, I'm making you my emissary. Go to this person and buy this $1 billion business. If he has the right credentials, he can now go and buy a $1 billion business. He doesn't have a penny. But because he's the emissary, he's the messenger of the billionaire, he can of course buy it, and right, if you have a lawyer or somebody with a power of attorney, it's binding. The same is true with the Creator. If we become messengers of the Creator, we can do everything the Creator can do. We can do everything the Creator can do. When it says in the Midrash that as Moshe is building the Mishkan, he wrote on everything, Kasher Tziva Hashem et Moshe, it means that his entire essence, the entire being of Moshe was, I am nothing but a messenger of the light of the Creator. And because of that, he merited obviously the ultimate connection. But what's important is the fact that he was able to do everything the Creator can do. Think about that for a moment. We, every single one of us, can come to a point where we can do everything the Creator can do. We can heal people, we can resurrect the dead, we can give any blessing. If and when we come to this level of being a shaliach, a messenger of the light of the Creator. The Zohar in Behar, and the reason I'm reading this is because we know that when we read these sections from the Zohar, it not only gives us the understanding, but it gives us the light. This awakens the light. The Zohar in Behar says, Ela daraza. The Zohar is talking. It says, it's not very often the Zohar says, I'm going to reveal a great secret. The Zohar says, talking about a concept which has to be understood, but it's called Ol Malchut Shamayim. What does it mean to accept like the yoke of the light? Like an ox. If you want him to plow a field, you have to first put the yoke on him and connect it to the ox, and then as he walks through the field, he'll be able to plow the field. In order to take out from him something good to this world, right? If you just take an ox and then walk around a field, he won't do any good. You have to first take the yoke, attach it to the ox, and then as he walks through the field, he's actually doing something constructive. If he does not accept this yoke, nothing happens with the ox. If he walks through the field, nothing's going to happen. Clearly the field will not be plowed. So too, one who has to accept this yoke, this being a complete messenger of the light of the Creator first. Then you can do everything. If you do not accept this initially, you can do nothing. The Zohar is saying something very clear here. To the degree that we see ourselves as only messengers of the light of the Creator, we can do everything. To the degree that we do not see ourselves as purely messengers of the light of the Creator, we can do nothing. The Shem Yishmuel says, to clarify, because one of these concepts I think that I'm worried, people hear this, this is pretty easy, so that means that today, as I go to talk to somebody or try to help somebody, I'll just say, I'm a messenger for the light of the Creator, and then I'll be able to do everything. It doesn't work like that. Because being a messenger influences everything about your life. What you do, what you think about. He says, because this is becoming, and this is the beauty of it, this is when you become like an angel. This is when you become to the level of an angel. And every single one of us, and the beauty of it again, use the example of the poor man who's receives the power of attorney from the billionaire. He has not a penny to his name, but he can buy $1 billion business. Because he has the power of attorney from the wealthy man. We can be the filthiest, lowest spiritual being. But if we truly achieve this level of being a messenger for the Creator, we can do everything. We can do everything. And this is the level, for us to achieve the level of being an angel. And again, without going into details, there's another midrash in this week's portion that talks about Malachav Giborei Koach, the angels of the Creator who have strength. And this is a call to every single one of us to become an angel of the Creator who has strength. Again, and this is connected to the previous lesson that we spoke about. As long as I have my thoughts and my anger and my disappointment and my sadness about what's happening in my life, I'm not batel. I am not a messenger completely to the light, to the Creator. I am myself who sometimes gets angry because I don't understand why things are happening. I'm not a shaliach anymore. I'm not a messenger of the light of the Creator. This has to really infuse all of our life. But once you achieve that level, to see myself as only a messenger for the Creator, he says, it's not an easy thing to do. And unfortunately, not every person can merit this level. שיהיו לו תמיד עיניים פקוחות, to have this clarity, open eyes. ובלשון חכמי האמת, and the Kabbalists call this level, נקרא מוחין דגדלות. When in the writings that I read, they talk about the level of what's called mochin de gadlut, which means the highest level of consciousness. This is the highest level of consciousness. When I diminish myself completely and see myself as a complete and total messenger only of the light of the Creator, and then again, when I achieve this mochin de gadlut, when I achieve this highest level of consciousness, then I have the ability, the power to be a malachav giborei koach, to be the angel of the Creator with strength to do everything that the Creator can do. In this Shabbat, in Vayikra, Moshe achieves this level. That's where the Midrash, in speaking about Moshe on this Shabbat, quotes this verse. Malachav giborei koach. Angels of the Creator who have great strength. One of the great gifts of the Shabbat is that we can begin attaining this level. Think about this, because again, this is the most exciting thing, because it means we can be nothing, we can be nobodies spiritually, but if we achieve this level of shaliach, we can do everything the Creator can do. Everything the Creator can do. You know, there's in the end of Pekudei, and we're not going to get to it. In the end of Pekudei, there is a beautiful, beautiful teaching in the Noam Elimelech or the Melech of Lezhensk. Maybe next Limud we'll read it. But the idea where he speaks about that one of the great openings that Moshe did is make it so that you don't have to be so righteous to be able to bring blessings and miracles into this world for other people. And this Shabbat, it opens even wider. Shlucho shel Adam Kuloto. We can become, and we have to, those of us who truly desire to change this world, to become angels, to become messengers of the light of the Creator. And we, you, I, every single one of us can do everything. And this is again, I think, at least as far as we've studied today, the greatest gift of the Shabbat. But if you have to think about this, because this changes. Again, if you don't live the first limud, the previous limud that we spoke about, in making in diminishing our thoughts, our logic, you can't achieve this one. But to have the understanding of what this means once I grow towards this level, it has nothing to do with my spiritual level. It just has to do with how pure of a messenger I am. And when I achieve that level, I can bring everything into this world. Again, this is, I think, the most exciting gift and revelation of the Shabbat. And B'ezrat Hashem, we should all have the merit to understand this and desire this. Desire this and work towards this, and then achieve this level of Malachav Giborei Koach. To be the Creator's angels, to have the strength to do and bring anything into this world. Shabbat Shalom.